Welcome, everyone, to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Whitman, taking you from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant through aligning your life in the 7 pillars of abundance. What if the reason you keep starting over isn't discipline? It's your subconscious trying to keep you safe. In today's episode, I'm going to sit down with manifestation expert and spiritual coach, Michelle Lamont, whose story will absolutely move you. From surviving trauma and a suicide attempt to becoming a top charting podcast and helping people activate true abundance, Michelle is proof that your past does not define your future. She's been featured alongside icons like Oprah and Kim Kardashian, and her podcast, Manifesting Miracles, has reached over 700,000 downloads. But what makes her work different is this. She doesn't just teach manifestation. She teaches you how to become the version of yourself who can hold the manifestation. In this episode, we're going to go deep into the nervous system regulation, belief reprogramming, and why so many high-achieving women unknowingly sabotage the very thing they're trying to call in. Welcome to the show, Michelle Lamont.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Michelle J. Lamont. There are two Michelles that if you look at Michelle Lamont, Michelle J is very important to me because I separate myself from the professor.
Okay, thank you so much. This conversation, you guys, is going to shift everything. So make sure you are staying tuned for the whole interview. Michelle, your story is incredibly powerful. Can you take us back to a moment where everything shifted for you, where you went from surviving to stepping into your true purpose?
I think the day that would stand out the most was I had gone back to school after attempting to unalive myself after a very, very long road as being an entrepreneur. I started my first business with $250 in a car that went in first, third, and reverse. And by year 3, I was about $37,000 in debt, and by year 5, I was doing a little over $1 million in sales. I grew that to 6 locations with 75 employees, and then I went on to create my PR agency, and I was profitable in 45 days, making about $90,000 in the first quarter. And then working with the NFL, the NBA, Bravo, NBC, Travel Channel, all of it, and becoming a full-fledged alcoholic in the process. Because I grew up in an American orphanage. My mother died when I was 10, and my father gave me away. He kept my brothers and gave me away, and I was, we'll say, Epsteined for about 5 years in that situation. In my marriage, I had 5 failed IVF pregnancies. So I have a C-section scar, 5 pregnancies, and no babies. All that said, what a wonderful way to get rid of all of your karma in the beginning of your life so I can have the second half of this story be the story that helps people rewrite their own story. And if any of this is resonating with you, I want to start with saying there is a time in everyone's life, whether it's with money or with love or with health or with the way that you view yourself, that before the age of 7, your prefrontal cortex observed, and then it made a record in your amygdala saying, hey, every time mom and dad have a bill equals suffering. A bill equals pain. Dad or mom isn't healthy. Grandparents aren't healthy. Things are struggling. And so in your mind, you perceive that as a threat. So it is a survival mode thing. So even if now you think, I went to college, I'm healthy, I got therapy, blah, blah, blah. If you never learned your nervous system or how to work with your vagus nerve, understanding how your brain actually works, then manifesting is going to be very difficult because manifesting takes calm, faith. It takes a steady ideology that can't be shaken. You can't just robotically say something over and over and over again and then think it's going to show up. Look at the lottery winners. A study was done of lottery winners, and out of 1,000 of the people that they interviewed over 25 years in different countries, 90% That means only 1 out of 10, 90% were more in debt, were more broke than before they won the lottery. Why? They were only focused on the one thing, the lottery, the lottery, the lottery. The mechanics never got fixed. So, influx of money, insecurity, same patterns, everything falls apart. So, as you're trying to create things in your reality, you're limited, and we'll talk about the science of the quantum field of energy in which you are participating in. So there was a study done on animals. Why, when animals are always being predators, right? There's always a predator no matter who you are. Even the king of the jungle might have a predator. They are in survival mode. Their cortisol is raised, but the second that the threat is gone, they're cool as a cucumber, but not us. We're still thinking about an argument we had with two ex-husbands ago, and we're like, you know what? If I saw John again today, I would tell
Right.
right? So imagine what your nervous system is doing with all of the unhealed and unattended and uncured stories that are running in the subconscious mind.
So how do we get them out of our mind and out of our body so that we can be calm and manifest?
Well, nothing ever gets out. It just becomes more dormant. It just becomes not a louder voice. So, in our brain, we have this system called the reticular activation system. And in the RAS, there's about, let's say our brain has about 120,000 thoughts a day, 100, 120,000. The problem is that they're the same five thoughts. I can't, it's too expensive. I don't have this, I don't have that. What would I do? I'm going to lose it, blah, blah, blah. Or you're really good at getting money, or you're really good at getting what you want, and then your subconscious mind comes flooding in and you're like, well, thank God I had that 10,000 extra dollars because my car just broke down. Well, the car couldn't have broken down until you had the $10,000 because you can't hold money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't matter how much you call in, you don't know how to sustain it. Same thing with loving relationships, same thing with opportunities. It's that subconscious programming that's running in the background that doesn't allow you to utilize your own inherent energy. And when I say energy, we are not from this planet. Want to know how? Look at your feet. Are there roots on them?
No.
Then no. So the only thing that is rooted to this earth is from this earth and staying on this earth. And so the magic never left the planet. You just don't believe in your own magic. And so you start to subsidize yourself. You start to say, I need this, or I need this, or I need this. And actually, you actually need less instead of more.
Amazing. So is this kind of like an energy set point where you're only going to let yourself get so happy, so wealthy, so fit because you have a subconscious limiting belief that is blocking?
Well, let's put it like this. We have an energy field around us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're, let's say in money, you grew up in a situation where you saw your parents being successful and they were entrepreneurs, but they cheated or they had arguments or whatever. So you might be really good at being successful in your career, but you seem to have the same kind of running story where it comes to friendships or interpersonal relationships or even like intimate partners. So why is that? It's because you're still living in the fight mode, fight, flight, fear, fornicate, freeze. And so anytime a
The
good
four
thing,
F's.
yeah, anytime something good comes in or something bad in that area, your reticular activation system, your 5 point system goes trouble, trouble, trouble. And so we have to get rid of the person. We have to cause a fight. We have to lose the money because we haven't healed that part of our energy field. So you're in a 100 field zone. So therefore, everybody in that zone is going to have that same limiting ideology, same limiting belief, same everything. So in quantum physics, when you move into a different gravitational system, meaning you're in a higher dimensional state, all of a sudden that lower density doesn't exist anymore. And that's when people are really good at manifesting. So they're like, yeah, I can have money. Yeah, I can have 5, 6, 7 businesses. I can do this. I can go play tennis this morning, do an interview this afternoon, and get a massage this evening, and still be a fierce diva. And
Yep.
so not everybody knows how to do something like that, and so they get stuck in their energetic field.
Yes. Got it. So you've experienced so much deep trauma and then healing transformation. And then you had a quantum leap into all this manifestation. We'll talk about how you met Oprah and Kim Kardashian in a couple minutes. What do most people, what is a common like myth or misunderstanding that most people have about healing and manifestation?
Most people think they're broken and they need to be fixed. You're not broken and you don't need to be fixed. You're on AM and everything you want is on FM. You're just tapping into the frequency of what you believe, what somebody told you, what somebody said. You're not actually creating. You're not actually going out there and trying because you have a long list of why it won't work. And because you have this long list of why it won't work, you are the creator of your reality. You and God are not separate. In fact, you are God. God doesn't look at you and say, "Whoa, I'm over here when you're happy and I'm over here when you're mad." There's no separation. And so when you think, okay, I have a kid, I don't have an education, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that, you're absolutely right. And none of these, all of those things are absolutely why it won't work for you. And somebody else with all those things will also sit down and say, but I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. That isn't mindset. People want to say it's mindset. It's you feeling safe enough in your body to let go of the old personality that had those fear factors in it, where the money came and gone or the people came and gone. It could have been an unhealed parent. It could have been an unhealed sister, grandparent, whatever it was. And so as you start to cultivate your life, you're tapping into the energy that says, this is all I can be.
So if fear stands for forgetting everything's all right, or face everything and rise, I like to say, how does someone rise into this calm, faith-filled way of being if they have all this unprocessed childhood trauma? Like what can they do to remain calm and relaxed so they can let the abundance of the universe flow in and get out of their own way?
So I would say, you wouldn't think that a bee could kill an elephant, but 1,000 bee stings will absolutely kill an elephant. So I want you to take all of these things that are going on in your life, one tiny little bite at a time.
Good.
So if you were, let's say that a lot of people's trigger is money, okay? Losing jobs, you're always seeing the economy issues and situations that are going on planetarily right now. And so we know that we are not from this planet, and we know that we are connected in the ethos of nearly 1 trillion solar systems. Okay, we're in one.
Right.
But our planet has one sun and one moon, but a couple of planets over, Saturn, they have 7 moons. Okay, and this is just one solar system. So when you're taking your vibrational pull, think about that there's 1 trillion solar systems and we're in one, and you think your thing is big, you're on Earth, but compared to the solar system, how minute is it? But yet you're still here and you matter. So here's what I want you to do. Take the thing that scares you the most, write it down at the top of the board, and break it down into tiny little bite-sized things. So let's say I want to leave my job, start a cookie company, and sell delicious vegan cookies, and 3% goes to animal welfare and saving, the ocean. I don't know. And so all of a sudden somebody says, "Oh yeah, well, how are you going to get a bakery? A mixer costs $5,000 and your credit is a 620 and this and this and that." Perfect. How about we just start with making the cookie at home? Okay, let everybody try it. What would you pay for this cookie? Okay, well, if you have a home run and it's a hit, then next step, next step, next step. Why? The brain already is accustomed to living like the left side of your body is your history. That's why you have a heart attack warning on the left side. So the left side is your history, your right side is your future. That's why you always look prettier on this side, because you're more vibrant, you have more energy, your energy's draining on this side. So as you start to decide what I'm going to tackle in this thing, your brain starts to hear a new story. Well, I made the cookies and people liked it. Well, people said they would pay $5. Well, I went to a arts and crafts show and I sold $100. Blah blah blah. So all of a sudden, all of these little bee stings are becoming what your brain is believing about you, and so the next step can happen, and the next step can happen, and once you get out of more like 51% faith, 49% fear, now that's momentum. And
Mm.
so you've already seen these other things happen. And when you're in flow, that's when you start really manifesting. When you're in fear, your gravitational pull or your energy is really subjugated to what you believe most. And so because you believe that you're the creator of your reality, it must be true. You aren't enough. You're not smart enough. You don't have enough credit. You don't have enough money. You are too old. It is too hard. And then you could take the same identical twin and give them the situation and give them this other programming, and they're going to be the next, Mrs. Annie's cookies or whatever they are, and sell them to some corporation.
We're going to hold that thought. Thank you.
Perfect.
When we come back from this commercial break, we are going to talk about how you use the law of attraction to meet Oprah and Kim Kardashian. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rebecca Whitman, and we are talking to Michelle J. Lamont about the law of attraction and how she is manifesting these unbelievable encounters. Let's talk about Oprah first and then Kim Kardashian. Tell us
All
how
right.
that happened.
So I was still doing PR and working in reality television, and I was in grad school, and I got to a point where I'm learning mindfulness cognitive therapy. I'm learning how the brain works. I'm learning how quantum energy works. So I decided I'm either going to stick to this awesome six-figure career that I've curated over the last 9 years, or I'm going to step out on my own and just be a crazy person and tell you how to work with angels. And so I wrote down, the challenge was set, and I wrote down on a piece of paper that I had 30 days, and there was 5 things. And the first thing was find a client who wanted a publicist and a spiritual teacher that would pay me $8,000 a month, because I had a mortgage, I had college, I had a career, I was leaving, so I had a lot of financial connections, and I wanted to be able to go to retreats and hire other coaches and learn from them, and et cetera, et cetera. Second thing on the list says TEDx was coming to Dallas, and they only had 5 spots. And when I applied, I was candidate number 2000 something for that particular year. And number 3 was Oprah was coming to town. And despite every single connection I had in the NFL and the NBA and reality television, it was a closed set. So nobody could buy, nobody could get a carpet. If you were not with an outlet, you were not getting on that carpet. So the other 2 were just like, not as big. So I was a publicist, and I had lots of interns and lots of young ladies that I helped. And this one girl got an account with a hotel in downtown Dallas. And at that time, my friend was on Beverly Hills. And so she was on that season, back for a season, Camille. And so I wanted to watch her and text her and be like, oh, no, 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 no. But my assistant, her big preview for this hotel event was that night, and whoever was supposed to check media in didn't show up. So she's calling me frantic, and I'm like, I'm going to be live texting with this person. No. I'm like, oh, you have to come. Well, my big old heart won, and I drive all the way downtown on a rainy night in a dress with a bun and lipstick, okay, to check people in, not getting paid for a former employee. And when I get there, her check-in person is there. And I'm like, why did I just drive 40 minutes? She's like, I called you 3 times. I pick up my phone, no missed calls. She picks up her phone, 3 calls.
Huh.
Well, we keep talking. She's like, if you stay for 30 minutes, I can get you in the group shot, and you can get the free weekend hotel here as a gift. And I was like, well, at least I can get a free weekend here and just chill out one weekend with my nieces or something. So I waited, and all of a sudden I see this woman sitting in the back of the room, and I can't explain it except just something bigger than me goes, go talk to her. So I walk all the way across the room and I start talking to her, and she doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't, I'm interrupting her. She is not a happy camper. She's like, "What are you doing? This is a Black journalist event. You are not Black. Why are you here? Why are you bugging me?" And I'm like, "Ah, da, 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 da." So all of a sudden I hear, "Tell her you need to make her a case study." And I'm like, because I'm doing deep, 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 deep energy work. And I was like, "What was your name again?" And she was like, "Kayla." And I was like, "Kayla, I can't tell you why I'm here tonight, but I can tell you that I know that the universe brought me here to help you."
Wow.
And I said, "I'm a manifestation expert." I didn't know what to call myself. I'd never said it out loud. And I said, "And I need to show people what I can teach them and how I can do it. Would you like to be my case study?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "Well, let me explain to you something. I'm hearing something right here over your left shoulder." And she's like, "What that?" And I said, "That your daughter is sick,
Mm.
and that your daughter is sick because you are sick." And she's like, "What did you say?" I go, "You have a mental obsession with working. And I think that it's tied to her." And she wouldn't look at me. She was so angry I was saying this. And I said, "And I know this is upsetting to hear, because as a mom, I'm sure the only thing you want to do is give comfort to your daughter. And the reason that you work so hard is probably to take care of her. But I'm telling you what I can hear, and I can tell you that it's killing her." And she put the phone down and she goes, "I'm sorry, what was your name?" And right when that happened, a producer from ABC walks by and she's like, "Shannon," and she's like, "Michelle, are they letting Latinas in here now?" And I started laughing so hard. And Kayla's like, "Do you know her?" She's like, "Michelle? That's Michelle J. Lamont, Lamont PR." She's like, "Lamont PR, I've lost jobs to you." And I was like, "Yeah, we're pretty good." I said, "But that's not why I'm here tonight. I'm here for manifesting and teaching people how to do this." Uh, and I said, "And I don't know how to tell you this, but it's working, and your daughter is sick." And she goes, "My daughter is sick." And I said, "She's going to get better if you stop working. And I'm not trying to tell you to not be a working mother, but you
How did
need to."
that lead to meeting Oprah?
So Shannon convinces her that Michelle is all good news. And we go and get our group picture. We get our weekend bag, and the three of us go down in the elevator to leave. So Kayla says, "Okay, Michelle, I'll give you 20 hours of my time over the next 4 weeks, because nobody knows my daughter's sick. I've not told anybody. I think that's something intuitively guided from above. So I'm going to do this." I said, "Excellent. Before we leave, let's the three of us say one good thing that's happened to us, and we'll end on a high note." And Shannon goes, "My daughter rolled over today." And we were like, "Yay, go Rose." And then Kayla looks over to the right, and she looks over to the left, and she grabs her computer and she goes, her phone, she goes, "I just signed the contract to bring Oprah Winfrey to town."
Wow.
And then I showed her my list. I whip out my little notebook and I go, "What is the first thing on there?" She goes, "Meet, interview, and have a one-on-one with Oprah." And I go, "Yeah, yeah." And she goes, "I can get you on the carpet, but I can't get you an interview." And I said, "It's already determined." And so when I got to the event, which is episode 110 of my podcast, and it would take too long to go into all the details here, I ran into an Entertainment Tonight reporter that I knew from LA. And I said, "Hey, I know you're friends with Gail." And he's like, "Yep." I was like, "Where is she?" He goes, "You see how Good Morning America and everybody's down at that end of the carpet?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "She's in that room and she's about to come out, and I'm going to interview her and nobody can see." So when you go to my website and you see the one-on-one with me and Oprah, you're going to see her and I locked in like we're best friends. And then all of these cameras and all of these paps around us. When she walked past me, there was nobody there. And I said, "Miss Winfrey, Miss Winfrey." And her publicist goes, "Nope, nope, nope." And I said, "I'd like to bring in Dr. Wayne Dyer into the room." And she stops. And I said, "Dr. Wayne Dyer said, I'm a realist. I expect miracles for people who are looking to manifest Oprah-sized miracles." And I'm screaming it. I go, "What do you say, Miss Winfrey?" And she turns around and she comes back. And you're never supposed to touch people on the other side of the carpet. She puts both of her hands on top of my hands and she goes, did you just bring Dr. Wayne Dyer into this event? And I said, yes. And she goes, I miss him. I said, me too. And so we literally hold hands and she just starts talking. I don't have a camera guy. I don't have a microphone. I don't have anybody. But one of my friends from the Dallas Morning News was there and she grabs her phone and she just starts recording it. And that's how I have the pictures. Well, if you look, it's a 50-foot ceiling right above my head. And between me and Oprah is sitting an orb.
Ooh, Wayne Dyer.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, could be.
And so
wow.
there it is. And in that same week, I manifested my TED Talk without interviewing, without auditioning. Okay. So that's that. And so that's how Oprah.
That's amazing. Let's talk about how you manifested Kim Kardashian.
So, we're always manifesting. We're manifesting from the minute that we're born. We manifested and we knew the contracts before we came to Earth, and we forget the contracts, okay?
Yeah.
And so, I grew up in an orphanage in Waco, Texas, Waco Children's Methodist Home, and it was a very, very terrible place. One of the things I would do was put like magazines on the wall. And I put Cindy Crawford up there because she was the first brunette that became like famous. Everybody was like Christy Brinkley's and like
I'm obsessed with her. And she was the first brunette that was like a size 8'10" and not like an anorexic stick figure.
So the first person I ever manifested was Cindy Crawford.
Oh my God.
So 5 days out of the orphanage, I get a one-on-one with Cindy Crawford. I'm 17. Okay. So I thought I can do this with anybody, not knowing what manifesting was. And so as I went into PR, Kim Kardashian became Kim Kardashian. And so I told everybody, there's 2 people in the world. If you ever meet them or interview them and you don't take me along, our friendship's over. Dolly Parton and Kim Kardashian. And so on my birthday, this is way before I knew manifesting, one of my friends was like, hey, I need you to send me your driver's license and social security number. I was like, okay. So I sent it to her. And then she's like, okay, I need you to meet me at Nordstrom's tomorrow wearing the nicest dress you have with the best makeup you can. Even go to the salon, get your hair blown out. And I was like, it's like June. So I don't know what, I go, why? She's like, just trust me. Well, we get there and it's all blocked off. Nobody's allowed in. And then my person standing there, she's like, she can come, she can come. And it's Kim Kardashian appearance. And she was an entertainment reporter. And so she brought me to the interview as her camera guy. And so it's me in a 400 square foot room, me, Kim Kardashian, Victoria, and her mom, Kim's mom, Chris. And it's just the 4 of us in this room. And Chris, before we start filming, goes, Kim doesn't take selfies unless she likes you. If she doesn't offer one, do not ask. You are here to do an interview. You have 6 minutes. After your 6 minutes, the time is up. You get up and leave. Kim goes out that door. She comes in this door. It was like cold as ice.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So the second she walks in the door, she looks at my friend with stink eye, like hates her instantly. And she looks at me and smiles. And I was like a dork. I was like, like she's not real. I was like, and she was like, well, they do the interview and she turns around and she goes, camera girl. And I go, yeah. She goes, let's get a picture.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even try to do it. I just put the intention out into the universe that I can manifest celebrities, and I have over and over and over. So many people, I can't even tell you. I can tell you tons of these stories. But the point is that when you don't have this idea that they're bigger than you or that's too big of an idea to have, then your energetic field moves up to theirs. Now you're in a field where Oprah's possible, Kim Kardashian's possible, Cindy Crawford's possible, this is possible, that's possible. But when you're in this lower frequency field, only this is possible. And so as you do these different steps that I teach, obviously, and talk about on my podcast and in my coaching and in my courses, you get to see yourself and experience yourself as the way you were always intended to be, a co-creator, a God energy. And when you're sitting in the seat of fear, you're sitting in the seat of defeat. You're letting the chaos rule you, and it has taken over your spiritual energy. And so when you start to collaborate with the not the fear, but the faith part of you, well, it's as expansive and as deep as the ocean and as wide as the solar system. So many people get stuck in this story about their family or their lives. It's time to write a new one, sister. And let's start with whatever celebrity you want.
I love it. We're going to cut to another quick commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk about someone who feels like they're doing everything they can to harness the power of the law of attraction, but they're still stuck. How do we get them unstuck through nervous system regulation and deeper faith? We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show. We are here with Michelle J. Lamont. So I was just saying that some people feel like they are saying their affirmations, they're meditating, they're doing the yoga, they're drinking their green juice, and they are still stuck. Can you break this down for someone, how to do what you're saying as far as faith, nervous system regulation, quantum leaping? What would you tell that woman who feels like she's doing everything right, but can't get anything going as far as her manifestations and goals?
Okay, well, first of all, this is a holographic universe. This is not theoretical. This is scientific. You can look at the Holographic Universe book by Michael Talbot, co-authored by Stephen Boehm, which is Einstein's protege. And it's not that affirmations, because affirmations are just words. And what we know from science is that the words stay at the back of the brainstem. And if you say affirmation is 6 o'clock, by 10 a.m., you don't believe it anymore. So you're back to who you are. You're back to your baseline. So what you have to start doing is understanding that you have to curate a different morning routine, because in the first 90 seconds your reticular activation system comes on and it remembers, I'm not enough, I don't have enough money, I'm not pretty enough, I'm old, I'm too young, I'm too black, I'm too Mexican, I'm too whatever it is. And so all of these preset ideologies that society of the world, your environment taught you, you're still creating in. So it's like you're spiritually bypassing it. It's like you're putting a band-aid on a bullet hole and you need surgery. Okay. So I want you to think of the first 3 minutes of your day as the fresh piece of paper that the story is written on.
I love that.
Okay. So what did you do for your story? Did you get up and grab your phone and look at TikTok or look at Instagram or look at your emails? Or did you check in with yourself? Did you check in with your God source energy? Did you decide what kind of day you were going to have? Did you put claim on it? That's the very first thing. So like one of the things in my academy, the Manifesting Miracles Academy, is that we have like every month a different morning routine based on the astrology of the month. So like today is a full moon. Very powerful to do an interview on a full moon, my friend.
Hey.
Today would be a great day to manifest something and make some moon water. In fact, I'm already making moon water right now outside. So when you are thinking of your fresh day and the fresh piece of paper, all of the history doesn't get inked until you tap into it. So if you wake up to, let's just say, do 7 days. I'm going to wake up for the next 7 days and I'm going to set my alarm and have the snooze button go off in every 4 minutes. So as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm going to hit snooze. And for 4 minutes, I'm going to project into my day what I want to see. And everybody's is different. So I would start with big words. I want to see something peaceful. I want to see something collaborative. I want to see something honest. I want to feel something true. I want to have a little bit of fun today. And then think about each of those items as what those could be. So let's say I want to be collaborative. Well, are you going into a work environment? Are you going to go see other people? How do you think that that could be better? How could the highest version of them and the highest version of you align in that timeline? Well, this morning, you're sending them your energy. We're going to have a great collaboration. Everything's going to go amazing. No matter what happens, we're going to do it. It's going to be wonderful. Like this morning, I was like, when I was on the beach and you were texting me, I was like, yep, I got it. Let me see, let me open up my email, let me do this, let me do that. Like my idea was, I'm going to be collaborative with you. This is going to be a fantastic podcast episode. People are going to love it. You know, all of that energy. And regardless of all the things that went wrong today in both of, you know, for me, especially in all the emergencies I had, fires I had to put out, I was still here looking fresh and ready for this interview. And I allowed myself to not be, you know, tied up in that energy, where if I didn't have a regulated nervous system, the fact that my dog almost died this morning would have put me into a tailspin a year ago or 2 years ago, where I would have been like, I have to take the whole day off. I have to calm down. Like, she had needles all in her. They put this thing on her head. They gave her eye exam. They did, you know, so all of these things is when you understand that you have changed and quantum leaped is what they want to call it, but you're not actually moving. You're just attuned to the frequency of where more abundance lives, more flexibility lives, more imagination lives. And, you know, if you think about your life, nobody knows anything except for what you tell them. And nobody knows what you're actually thinking unless you say it out loud. So all the story of you can be rewritten starting today.
Yes.
Okay. And so if you were to concentrate on one thing, not money, but abundance, I want to live in overflow. Okay. So what does that mean? I walk into the parking lot, I found a penny. Now you might be like, Michelle, it's a penny. No, it's not. It is energy that has moved into physicality to the
Yes.
degree of which you can receive it. Because the penny, you could say, let's say, oh, I'm going to go buy a scratch off. And then you take the scratch off and you won 100,000 by using that penny for the scratch off.
It's a sign that you've manifested something out of pure nothingness. So I don't care if it's one penny or $100,000. It's really.
And you really want to separate that money that you find.
Yes. You say attracting what you want is about becoming the version of someone who can hold that vision.
Yeah.
So what does that actually look like in real time? If somebody's listening and they're like, how do I become the version of myself that can hold the money or the relationship or the radiant health that I want? What does that mean to someone? How can they shift into someone who can hold it?
Right. So if you saw your parents arguing over money, and then you get an opportunity to make more money, your body doesn't believe and doesn't understand that more is better than less, because money is always stress. So it's first understanding the core behind the story and why that story exists, how to heal that version of you with either inner child work, meditation, EFT tapping, hypnosis, all of these different ways to kind of tap into that subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is dormant. When we're awake, we're using less than 8% of our brain. And if you've ever had an alcoholic drink, 7%. If you've ever done a little ski slope or popped a little pill at a party, well, then you're about 5%. Where is all of this information coming from? Your subconscious brain. How do we access it? When we are asleep, when we are meditating, when we're in the shower, and when we're driving. And so if you were to start doing your meditations right before you go to sleep or right before you get into a shower, you're elevating your ideology. But if you were to start using cephaleo frequencies or subliminals when you sleep, you're literally doing an 8-hour rewiring of your brain every single night. And that's why you want to have a great morning routine and an incredible evening routine that's based in neuroscience. And that's kind of how I create all my programs, because they're action oriented. And so your brain believes it doesn't have to have so much faith. And so you start to rewrite those stories of survival and you start to tell yourself how wonderful things are and how they work out, well, all of a sudden now you're only a vibrational match to people who believe in you, people who want to invest in you, people who want to follow you, people who love you, people who like you. And when you bump up against something that's contradictory or something falls apart, it's amazing because now you've hit something in your core that was blocking you. You can say, oh, that was cute. I just lost $50,000. Okay, I'm going to crash out for a day, but then I know 100K is on its way because I'm going to tap into it. I'm going to do some subliminal thinking. I'm going to be rewiring my neuroplasticity. And so you start to rework your energy, and then manifesting requires faith, trust, and opportunity. And the opportunity is within you. The faith and the trust is in your energy field.
One of your philosophies, Michelle, is that it gets to be easy. A lot of women on this podcast, they're wanting to switch from the burnout, overwhelm feeling to the alignment. What would you tell this woman who maybe give her 2 or 3 practices? I know you might have already given us some to shift into hustle mode to like more of a flow and ease state.
Well, I'm going to quote John Lennon. You better get your life together because one day you'll be dead.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, whatever you're doing matters not. It's busy work. You need to get really attuned to what it is that actually excites you and makes you happy, even if it's just for the ideology of having some joy in your life. You believe that climbing the corporate ladder or getting all the eggs in your basket is the win, but when you're sitting there on your deathbed, you're not going to think like, thank God I worked 80 hours all my life, okay? And because you signed the contract, the spiritual contract of being a hustler, a worker, a workaholic, your belief system is that you could never survive doing what you actually love. And Rebecca and I are here to tell you that we're doing it. Yeah. And we're here to tell you that we didn't. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And so I didn't come from a situation where I never saw people having the things I have. I wake up and the ocean's in my front yard and I walk to the end of the street and there's the beach. The house behind me just sold for $3.8 million. So how do we get from corporate America, like I was for so many years, to where I had a belief system? It took me giving everything up. It took me trying to unalive myself. It took me giving up alcohol and animals. I'm a vegan and I'm sober for over 11 years. And really finding faith in my communication. So, first things first, ladies, you've already proven that you can do this. And that is all you need to know. You have a proven track record that you got up, you went to the game, you played, you got your stripes. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody sees you as a baddie. Snap, snap, snap. Now we're going to take that evidence and we're going to turn it into our passion. And that doesn't mean that you have to go grow tomatoes in a farm. It means that you get to use all of your gifts and talents. Everything you've already done was the precursor to the passion that you've been denying yourself. And the passion is where everything will cultivate. So if you don't know what to do first, obviously call me. But second, I want you to take down a piece of paper and say, I have 5 years left to live. What is 5 things I want to accomplish each year? And none of them can be financially based. And when you look, and when you look at that list, you're going to cry because even thinking about it can make you sick. But it's also going to trigger your genius because you're going to look at one thing on that page. So what you want to do, write the 5 down, narrow it down to 3. Then for 2 days, look at the list, narrow it down to 2. Of the 2, take action on one of them.
Love it.
And then you're going to sit there and tell yourself, if I had 5 years left, this is how I'm going to leave that mark. And because you've already achieved everything you want to achieve and you've done so well in your career, you're going to take that same genius, that same intuition, the same initiative, and then you're going to have the momentum of the quantum field of energy already in belief because you've already proven what a great business person you are. So it's an easier swing for you than you think.
Amazing. What is last? I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions and
Okay.
we'll wrap this interview up. This has been amazing. What is your morning ritual that is non-negotiable?
Okay. So tapping. So I have ADHD, I'm neurodivergent, and I suffered from PTSD from my childhood. One of the things that never feels good is that whenever I make, like, I got 10,000 for a speech the other day, and I was like, oh, my tire's gonna blow out. So I was like, no, that's not gonna happen, right? So we're gonna do right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder, and this is double butterfly tap. Right, left, right, left. So as soon as I wake up, I say, oh, only good things are allowed to stay. Okay. And then after I do that for just a little bit, and then I say, this day is going to be filled with, okay, whatever it is, magic, opportunities, love, whatever. And then the third line is always the anchor. Okay. And because I'm Michelle J. Lamont, everything always works out for me. Okay.
Beautiful.
So then we start with the tap, double tap, and then I'm going to go right into the mirror. All right. And I'm going to stand into the mirror, and I usually like to stand naked. And I stand there and I talk about my whole body, how wonderful it is to have these great breasts, how beautiful my neck looks, how I age backwards, how everybody thinks I'm 15 years younger than I am, how my body is rejuvenating, how I'm full of energy, how I love my calves and my thighs. And I turn around and I don't see cellulite, I see life. I don't see flabby, I see fantastic. And I talk to all of my organs because I'm living in this body every single day. And when we look in the mirror, we're looking at the flaws. Oh, look at this little wrinkle. Oh, I need Botox here. Oh, it's time for some more lip filler or whatever it is. And so we're reflecting to ourselves that we are not enough. And so when we do that to ourselves, what do you think our holographic universe is going to look like? So I do tapping, mirror work, meditation, and then I ground. And because I live at the ocean, I just walk outside and go to the ocean. But if you don't live at the ocean, you can just go out to your backyard or a park. You can do it in the shower with the shower running, listening to the water falling behind you. There's a lot of different ways that you could do it. You could even just get a plant, put your hand into the plant and touch the dirt. If you live in a small, like in an urban city or something like that, and allow yourself to be the creator of that day. Every day you wake up and it's like you're just battling things one after another, and you're looking for the relaxer point of the day. Oh, like at 3 o'clock, I can relax for an hour. Well, then the universe must provide you all the stress and all the anxiety and all of the things because you're writing the scripts and you're writing the story. And so if you start to tell yourself this new story and this new script, like I'm great at this or I'm wonderful at this, then the universe is like, oh, great, we're so good at this and we're so wonderful at this and da 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 da. And it just works out. And so that's what I would say to anybody who is starting new or anybody who's changing their careers. It's never been a better time to get off the treadmill. It's never been a better time to believe in yourself, and the universe is fully supporting you. The highest version of you is in the room right now saying, I put you into Rebecca's world for a reason. Listen.
Absolutely. Well, this has been such an inspiring interview. I know my audience is going to want to find you online and stay in touch with you. Where can they find you, Michelle J. Lamont?
Well, as a former TV media publicist, everything is the same. Michelle J. Lamont, TikTok, Instagram, website, podcast, everything. If you type in the word Michelle J. Lamont, your whole life is going to change.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant Show, where we know that we can achieve success through alignment, not the hustle and grind. And until we meet again, keep your vibe high and magnetize. Bye, everyone.
Bye.